Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Friday night. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. As always, got a fantastic show lined up for you guys tonight as we're entering into our first Friday show of 2023. It's always going to be the first this whole week. First Saturday show is tomorrow night. So anyway, we got a lot to get through. We're going to do the news. We're going to do Discord question of the week. We're going to visit the Cryptid corner and a whole bunch of weirdness in between. So I hope you guys are ready because we're going in. Hang on to your seats. This is going to get good. Well, that's it, folks. It's official. The Friday show is now currently underway here on the Paranormal Portal. And as always, hope you guys are doing great out there. Thank you so much for joining me and giving up a part of your weekend to spend it right here in the Paranormal Portal. I'm absolutely honored, as always. Good to see you guys, as always. Let's see, anything in the current events? Nothing really. It's just been a really busy day. We did... earlier today, our good friend Naysay had organized a Kev Baker remembrance episode, and I appeared on there, and it was a wonderful opportunity to get on and reminisce about Kev and talk about his incredible footprint in our lives, and it was a good experience. We certainly miss Kev, and we'll continue to miss him for the rest of our days. But thank God for that man and all that he contributed to not only paranormal broadcasting, but just broadcasting in general. And so it was a lot of fun. I really appreciated it. And I just had a little short segment on there, but it was just great to be an honor to be invited. So that was earlier, and I think it's on a channel. I think it's called the Kev Baker Remembrance or Kev Baker Remembrance channel on YouTube. You'll have to look at Naysay's Facebook or other people that may have posted it as well. but I watched a little bit of it as I was prepping for the show tonight as well afterwards, and he really touched a lot of lives. So my heart goes out to his family who are still dealing with that incredible, epic loss, as well as the community. So, but it's great to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. We have an incredibly busy night tonight. We are also simulcasting on TFR Live, which is simulcast on excuse me, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live networks as well. So it's just a fantastically busy night, but hopefully you guys have a great time. But those of you on YouTube, you will see breaks every 27 minutes, and that's just because we're not just on YouTube, we're simulcasting on these other networks, so we got to keep things in sync. There's commercial breaks over there, so there's breaks here as well. It's not because I don't have the energy to do a full 2-hour run, but just to keep things in sync, we do the breaks on YouTube as well. So I guess probably we're going to have to get to some news here. What do you guys think? Are you ready? Are you ready to get informed? Are you ready to learn what's going on? Some of the strangeness, some of the bizarre things, some looks at the archives of news. Well, you came to the right place, folks, because it is time for the news. It is the most trusted news network, as always. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. It's exactly like the other desk, but it's got this new background, or this old background. It's kind of old now, I guess. I've been using it for a long time, but I'm laughing to myself because when on the networks, they can't hear the theme song and the bumper music that all of you on YouTube can hear. So I'm just pushing sound effect buttons, and it cracks me up every time. I know I should probably get a sound file that fits for the networks as well, but also works with the theme music you're hearing. But I haven't done that yet. So in the meantime, I'm just having fun. I'm really clearing out tonight, so I'm sorry if I get froggy from time to time, but it's the best version of me I can give you right now. The good news is I'm absolutely mending up, and I'm just about firing on all 4 cylinders now. So I got that going for me. Hello, Father Mike. Hello, Rachel. Hi, Lily Pond, Maggie, John Stevenson, Forensic Mystics. How you doing? Good to see you. Chucky Danger's in here, and Chucky actually joined the Discord, so it was great to meet you over there. Thank you, and thank you for sending that message. The only news I trust, John says. Well, I got that going for me. I hope I keep that streak going, the trustworthy news thing. I will tell you that absolutely nothing is fabricated here. It's all as I find it. So hopefully the object for the Paranormal Portal News is that you leave here learning something you didn't know before you came, and it may not be something you wanted to know, but you're welcome. So as always, we lean heavily on a site called unexplained-mysteries.com for the news, because I'm just enamored with this site. I can't put it any other way. They're always timely. They're always first putting this stuff up and putting it live, and they do a hell of a job over there. There's someone named TK Randall over there that is just busting their tail to keep this stuff going. The first thing is kind of some science-y news. Let me just glance at this. No, it's not too long. However, for those of you that are into the quantum and into that 5-brain kind of stuff, well, this is for you. And this is a new article from unexplained-mysteries.com from January 6th that says, scientists discover new type of quantum entanglement. As if the old type wasn't enough. Now we got a brand new type. So let's see what's going on here. And the article starts out, the weird world of quantum physics has become weirder still thanks to a new breakthrough by researchers in the U.S. I'm telling you what, researchers in the U.S. are really, really taking it home. I'm telling you, there's some new fission going on that they're going to be announcing pretty soon, and now this new quantum physics. It's an exciting time in our world of technology. But way to go, U.S. guys. Not that I'm, they have to be from the U.S., but it's always cool. It says, if there's one area of quantum physics that is likely to make your brain melt, it's quantum entanglement, a phenomenon once described by Albert Einstein as spooky action at a distance. For reasons that are not entirely clear, two entangled particles can remain linked and influence one another instantaneously, even if they are billions of light years of distance between them. This effect has been demonstrated numerous times in the lab, so it is very much the real deal. Up until now, quantum entanglement experiments have always involved particles from the same group and the same charge, but now scientists at Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider, or RHIC, facility in Brookhaven, New York, have revealed that they have managed to take things one step further. An impressive breakthrough, they have been able to demonstrate quantum entanglement using two particles with different charges, opening the door to a whole new world of quantum experimentation. There's never been any measurement in the past of interference between distinguishable particles, study co-author Daniel Brandenburg told Motherboard. That's the discovery. The application is that we get to use it to do some nuclear physics. Well, I don't know how to take that. What does that mean? I guess that's a good thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad or otherwise, but it's pretty interesting nonetheless. So, new quantum entanglement, folks. There you heard. Maybe you heard it first here. I hope so. Be nice to be known as the nerve center of breaking news. But, I don't know. It's always the portal either way. So, very cool. New quantum entanglement. And we'll see where that takes us. Next up is an article from Unexplained Mysteries, unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is having to do with, let me just do this. This one's a quick one. And it has a video, too. We may actually watch it. But I read this on another site today as well. And I was like, what does this mean exactly? Well, coming from Russia, they claim to have shot down a UFO, quote UFO, over Rostov Oblast. This is, again, from January 6th by T.K. Randall. The governor of the region has claimed that local forces have shot down a mysterious spherical object. The alleged incident, which occurred January 3rd, reportedly involved Russian forces in the region shooting down an unidentified object over Sultan Sala in Rostov Oblast's Mayansnikovsky district. Oof, that was a lot of syllables altogether. According to Governor Vasily Golubev, the small-size object in the shape of a ball had been spotted flying in the wind, and that the decision had been made to liquidate it. I urge everyone to remain calm, he was quoted as saying. To ensure security, all forces and means are involved. The sky is covered with anti-aircraft defenses. To further add to the mystery of it, an alleged video of the incident has also emerged showing an unidentified object exploding in the night sky after being hit by what looks like a missile. You can check out the footage yourself below. Well, I guess we will. I'm going to quick mute it here because I don't know what we're in for. This is kind of a long thing. Let's just get to the video portion of this. There we go. From the Hidden Underbelly 2.0. There goes the missile, I guess. I guess it's a missile. Shooting off into the sky. And it hit something. Boom. Okay. Well, there you have it. They shot down something. I don't know what was the purpose. Is it a drone? Is it a UFO? We don't know. I mean, literally it's UFO because I'm pretty sure they probably didn't know what it was either, a ball-shaped object. But could it have been extraterrestrial? Could it have been interdimensional? Could it have just been some kind of new surveillance technology? I guess we don't know. So At any rate, something was shot down. I don't know what, but there you have it. All right, so that was another breaking story here in the Portal News Desk. So you got that going for you. You might not have known that either, but now you know. Okay, let's get to the next one, because the clock's always ticking here when we're on the network. I got to keep things in time with the breaks as much as I can, which forces me to push just a little. All right, next up from unexplained-mysteries.com. Oh, God, this is huge. Next up is not this article because it's way too big. It has to do with the real-life Thunderbird remains that were found, I think, in Australia. But I guess if you want to know about it, it's apparently it's about, I don't know, let's see. I'm trying to scan ahead a little bit. It was from Australia about 8 million years ago. So apparently a large bird fossil was uncovered in Australia that dates to about 8 million years ago. They're talking about how did they get so big? Well, you'll have to find out. I'll post the link if anybody's that interested in dinosaurs and fossils and stuff. Maybe you'll want to check it out. Maybe not. Hi, Bam. Hi, Gemini. Hi, curious guest over in TFR. Good to see you. And those of you in the chat on YouTube, good to see you guys there. I appreciate it. Here's the link for your viewing entertainment if you choose to check it out. But we're not going to check it out here on the show. It's way too many words for me to try to squeeze in. Here's another one. This one has to do with the UFO phenomena, because apparently there's still a lot of UFO stuff popping off all over. And this one has to do with some location over in England. From unexplained-mysteries.com, small village in England is an unexpected UFO hotspot. Well, I don't know. UFOs in England are, kind of synonymous, aren't they? They've had a lot of them over there. Rendlesham was a huge incident over in England dealing with the military bases and stuff. But a small settlement in Derbyshire has gained international attention due to its connection with UFO sightings. Sometimes the most significant UFO sightings occur in the unlikeliest of places. The small village of Bosnall in Derbyshire, England, would certainly seem to fit in this category. It's not even the sightings themselves that have put this village, which sits at the edge of the Peak District, on the map. It's what's most surprising is the amount of international attention it has received. Much of the activity was centered around a 2-year period beginning in October 2000, during which there were 19 sightings of unidentified flying objects in the skies over the local area. One sighting in particular made the headline news, that of Sharon Rowlands, who managed to capture a strange circular object on camera. So great was the interest in her footage of the phenomena that a Hollywood producer reportedly purchased it for over $24,000, and even NASA officials got in touch with her because the object she had filmed matched one spotted during the STS-75 Columbia Space Shuttle mission in 1996. Oh, there you go. NASA's known about this stuff for an awful long time, but they just recently decided to start investigating. Baloney. Sightings reported by other locals included an object described as a ball of fire, the appearance of 2 bright lights, and even a pink glow vertically shaped like a shoebox. No definitive explanation for any of these sightings has ever been found. Well, there you go, Derbyshire, England. That's where you might want to go if you're looking for UFOs. That's where they apparently are hanging out now. I guess maybe it's UFO time over in England. I don't know. Let's get to the next one. I wonder what are we doing for time here. Let's see. 9 minutes. Yeah, we're okay. We can get a few more in. I won't get to all of them, but we can, whatever we don't cover tonight, we'll cover tomorrow. And the next one up is this one. Mystery revisited, the twins who were murdered in a past life. Yeah, that's not too long. We can read this one. And this is, again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. Ram and Sheesh Narayan Daiwadiamu compelled many, including a prominent psychologist, with their unique reincarnation tale. Born in India in 1964, the two boys quickly regained what they believed to be memories of their past life as 2 farmers, Bimsen and Bism Pitma, who were murdered by a man named Jognath over a land dispute. That sounds like someone from Star Wars, Jognath. Over a land dispute around 4 months before their reincarnated selves were born. As with some of the most compelling cases of alleged reincarnation, the twins seem to be able to recall specific details about their past lives, as well as the names of their family members. According to accounts from the time, friends and family members of the deceased farmers traveled to visit the twins, who instantly recognized them, despite having never met them before. Some of the details they could recall about their past lives were particularly impressive, including individual items of jewelry that they had owned and the exact size of their plot of land. The case eventually reached reincarnation researcher Dr. Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia, who conducted an extensive study into the twins' claims. During a first trip to India, I learned the cases consisted of much more than a child's claim to remember a previous life, he wrote. The children also showed behavior unusual in their families, and that in those cases in which the claims were verified, matched the behavior of the deceased persons the children claimed to have been. He was particularly intrigued by how much the twins knew about the murderer of their past selves, including the names of several of his accomplices. Perhaps most intriguingly of all was the presence of birthmarks on both boys, which seemed to correspond to the locations of the fatal injuries sustained by their predecessors. Could Ram and Sheesh have really been remembering details of their past lives? Sadly, we may never know for sure. And I've wondered about this phenomenon because I'm not against the idea of reincarnation. I think in some ways it makes a lot of sense, but it does make you wonder. I've heard this claim before about the whole birthmarks being an indicator of a past life ending, usually tragically by some measure, like in the case of, being murdered or something. But that can't always be the case, I'm sure. I think birthmarks happen by any number of reasons, but could it be another indicator? I guess it could be. I don't know. But do you believe in past lives or not? We'll have to find out. Maybe that's a future question of the week. We'll find out anyway. But very interesting. I think these cases are absolutely phenomenal and very intriguing, because there's many times where little children, not many times, but it has come up several times throughout the course of the show and my research, that children will say to their mom, "Mom, remember when I was your grandpa?" It's like, what? Remember when I was your mommy? And things like that. And it's these profound moments that, could it be? There's an idea called a soul family that we perhaps stay with this group of souls that we've incarnated with many times. And perhaps when we lose a loved one, another is born, and what if that was the same soul coming back to be again with the family? And I don't know how you feel about that kind of stuff. Again, the portal's never about telling you what you should believe. Believe whatever's right for you, but it is interesting. It's an interesting concept, and certainly sometimes seems to make sense. So you be the judge, though. I'm just the guy, the knucklehead with the microphone. So I get to talk about all this stuff. How are we doing for time? 5 minutes. We can get to a couple more. And this one will make you quit smoking in a hurry. This one's from the archives. I know that nicotine cravings can be pretty intense. I was a former smoker, or I am a former smoker. I just didn't like what it was doing to my body, and I was like, no, I'm done. I'm not breathing well anymore, so I quit. And that was good. I think that was a good move for me in terms of my health. But I think this could make you quit a little quicker. And this is from the archives of unexplained-mysteries.com from 2010. Smoker loses 6 teeth after cigarette explodes. It's like one of those cartoon cigars, like, and then their face is just all charred, and their hair and their hats and stuff, and they're smoldering, and all you can see is the whites of their eyes. Maybe it's like that, but it says, here's another good reason not to smoke. A man in Indonesia lost 6 teeth this week after his cigarette exploded. The company behind the brand offered to pay for the man's medical treatment after the incident or accident. The exact reason behind this exploding cigarette has yet to be determined. Andy Susanto, a 31-year-old security guard, said PT Nojorono Tobacco Indonesia, the maker of the brand of cigarette he was smoking, had offered to pay for his medical treatment, which reportedly cost 5 million rupiah. Now that sounds like a lot, but basically the rupiah exchange rate is right around 10,000 rupiah for $1. So it's not quite as huge as you might think, but sounds like a lot. 5 million rupiah. Oof. I think it's more like 13,000 rupiah per dollar now, but it fluctuates. So don't smoke. You're welcome. Okay. Could you imagine? Oh, I got to go take a break. I got to go outside and smoke. Nope, I'm not coming back to work anymore for this week. Your teeth are just all over the place. Oh, God, that must have hurt. That must have hurt so bad. That poor guy. Oh, makes me cringe. When I was a kid, I once put cigarette loads into my dad's cigarettes. And I was stood in my bedroom doorway peeking out. He would always get done with his shower, put on his jammies, and it was, he was, in jammies and nothing else, and sitting in his easy chair. And he kicked up the footrest. He grabbed a cigarette, and he lit it. And I was sitting there watching. I had no idea what this would do. I was a young kid at this time. And I watched, and that damn cigarette exploded, like, pow! And there were sparks everywhere. My dad's eyes got about the size of saucers as he's putting out these embers all over on himself in his chair. And he decided to quit smoking the next day. Now, I loaded at least half of that fresh pack with cigarette loads, and he gave the pack away to a coworker. So I don't know how that worked, but I was terrified. I was like, oh, God, that was way more. I thought it'd just pop and just be an annoyance, but, man, that shot sparks everywhere. I was like, oh. So, yeah, no joke. One of my brighter moments as a young child. So nobody was really hurt, thank God. At least I don't know whatever happened to his friend. God, you imagine he was driving and that happened? Oh. But it was a different age, I guess. I don't know. What do you do? I was not normally a prankster, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Didn't work out well. So let's see what the time is, because, we're right down to the wire. That was a good place to stop the news. So let's get back to the rest of the show and the break. are back. And back at it here on the Paranormal Portal. Woo! All right. We got a lot more to get to. Always watching, Brent. Well, that's what this is all about, John. I know you. It was a double entendre, I know, because the whole cigarette load story. But yeah, I'm all for you watching. Whenever you can, however you can, is wonderful. And thank you all for watching as we are in our Friday night show here on Paranormal Portal. And we just got through the news. Hope you learned something. Maybe. if not a little bit about my childhood anyway. But no, it was a good life. All right, so we have now the next segment we're going to get to is one that I've been having a lot of fun with, and it's a way to tie in our Discord community to the live shows, which I have a lot of fun with because I don't pretend to know all of this stuff. I'm not even sure about a lot of it, to be honest. I mean, I have my ideas, but there's no measuring stick for any of this stuff in the paranormal. I mean, it's just all theory and ideas, and we may be right or we may be way off track. We just don't know. But the new segment we've been doing lately is called Questions of the Week, and it's an opportunity to put out questions to our Discord community so that they can weigh in and take part in the conversation, and I can kind of hear what you guys think about some of this strangeness and what where you guys are at, because in some ways it really does help me too, because I like to think about new things to do on the show and new things to cover that maybe we haven't. So one of the barometers I can use then is the questions of the week. Well, how did everybody feel about this topic? Let's say it's a new topic we haven't really covered much, and I can put it out in a question of the week just to hear out where people are at with it. And it's not because I'm going to tailor my opinions to what you guys think, but it's just sharing ideas, which is what this show is all about. I mean, first and foremost, the Paranormal Portal is always a discussion. It's a discussion about the paranormal because there are no experts. If there were experts, then we could just crack open a book and talk about it, and that would be it. There'd be about, maybe 30 shows total, and that would be the whole deal. We would know all there was to know, but we don't know anything. So it's constantly revisiting these things and constantly evolving different ideas and theories about it. So this is the Discord question of the week format. And first, before I launch the page, I'm going to put out an invite to any of you out there who might want to become part of our Discord community as well. And I'm going to put it in the YouTube chat right now, and I'm going to put it over in TFR right after that. If you're not on the youtube.com/paranormal portal channel watching the live stream, then you can also be a part of a chat community by going to tfrlive.com/chat and get a chat name and join in that way. But there's always places to talk. But the Discord community is also fun because it's an opportunity to continue the dialogue past the shows themselves. Like, the one thing that I've always marveled at with the Paranormal Portal is the amount of people that come in and have these robust discussions and dialogues and form these incredible friendships and legitimate caring for each other. And I can't take any credit for that. That's all you guys. I mean, you guys have created that around the show, and I'm absolutely thrilled and honored that you have. But the Discord community is another opportunity for you to connect maybe with those same people and have dialogue when we're not doing live shows, because we only do them 3 days a week. So Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. on the YouTube channel, and Friday, Saturday on TFR Live as well. So that's just another opportunity. So that is the Discord link. If you want to join, love to have you over there. Just click that link, and it will launch Discord and should bring you right to the channel. So I'm going to get a permanent link sometime soon. Haven't done it yet. It's just one of those things I got to bankroll in the future. So it just hasn't happened quite yet. So let's get to the Discord question of the week. And here's the Discord, and here is the intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Discord question of the week. And as you can see here, this is Discord. I've got it up on screen so you can kind of see how this looks. Over here's the different channels that you can belong to. I belong to a few. Kev Baker channel, Kev Baker show is still being moderated and is live. So, even though Kev has passed, his community still continues. And there's just always fantastic discussions going on over there. Here's Joe Roops. There's Cade Moya over in Australia's group. And there's the Paranormal Portal, and there's Sarah Bignell of Yowie Central's group right there. So this is the Paranormal Portal group. So this is the left side is all the chat threads, the different discussion areas that you can click on. When you first join, you'll be greeted with this one. And this is the general. And then you can go up here to the one above it for the questions of the week. There's a Discord tutorial over here. And then there's all the different topic areas: Bigfoot, Dogman, Ghost, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music, strange phenomena. And there's voice channels down here too. If you want to chat in person without typing, that's always an option as well. So we're interested in the Discord questions of the week. So we're going to get into that now. One thing I would like to ask you guys, those of you on Discord, is just please, if you would, just keep the questions of the week thread, just responses to the question. I know side dialogues happen sometimes, but try to move those out. It can get cumbersome deleting a lot of different chats that are going on that really are more side conversations and not your reaction to the topic. So please do that. But the question of the week for tonight's show, Friday's show: many people have claimed to have been abducted by extraterrestrials and brought to planets both in our solar system and even across the galaxy. Do you believe at least some of these claims are legitimate, or do you think these are simply fabrications, potentially psychological issues experienced by the claimants? So, could be fabrications, could be just, some people are just seeing the world in a different way due to psychological issues, or is it a legitimate thing? And honestly, I have to say, I don't know. And it's not me trying to be. You have to understand that everybody that hears about paranormal and different topics that are so far removed from the normal, everybody has their own personal barometer. What can they get their head around? And for me, I maybe it's really true, and maybe it is. It's hard for me to grab onto, because I don't know. I mean, do they regard us as a up and coming people? Maybe then they would do that. Do they regard us as, like, as Michio Kaku suggests, potentially ants on the anthill? I mean, I don't pick up an ant and walk it around the neighborhood and show it everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know how they look at us, and so I'd like for it to be a legitimate thing, because it'd be neat if that were the case, that sometimes they take people and show them this amazing reality that we'll never experience in our lifetimes. And that to me is an exciting thing. But I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm really on board with it or not. I do keep an open mind on this show always, because I don't pretend to know. And so I'm reserving judgment, I guess is what I'm saying. Could be, but maybe not. I don't know. So that was my motivation for putting this out there. I want to know what you guys think. Because, honestly, I'm not conclusive on it. So first response is from Paradox Fossils. I believe many are memories of events that happened long ago, but so intense it felt like it just happened. Others happen here in the sister Earth. So I think he's looking at it from more of a multi-dimensional or multiverse kind of idea, or I'm not sure what he means by sister Earth. That's an interesting take, and I probably should have asked for clarification before the show. And Lars is responding as well, saying yes, but many can be fake memories. Okay, and that's a possibility. Maybe it is just a mind glamour that they put on people as they're experimenting on them. Like, yeah, we're actually probing you and doing all kinds of weird stuff, but you're gonna think you're traveling the stars. So they just project this stuff into people's heads. That's an interesting take. Yeah, I appreciate that. Then this is a bunch of back and forth between Lars and Paradox Fossils, but Chucky Danger weighs in and says, without having experienced an abduction, it's hard to judge whether or not the abductee is brought to another planet or even just off Earth. I think it's important to keep an open mind from the Betty and Barney Hill case. I believe Betty had knowledge after the fact about a star system that was only recently discovered. Having evidence of or knowledge that can be substantiated is going to be key to understanding and solving this. Yeah, it was Zeta Reticuli. I think she was able to diagram Zeta Reticuli and even show common routes that were taken by the extraterrestrials that are from there. I don't think they actually visited it, but I think she was shown things while inside of the craft. And that was one of the things that she remembered. I believe under hypnosis, all of these memories came back to Betty and Barney Hill. Sound like Barney had a really rough time, though. Like his experience was a lot less happy than Betty's. But very interesting. So Lars is responding to Chucky. Again, just keep it to the responses, please. Maggie M10 says, I'm not sure I can answer this question. I don't think every person is experiencing psychological issues because the similarities in accounts are hard to overlook. I do think it is possible some of the similarities could be a byproduct of sharing accounts and listening to others. Therefore, it's possible the similarities come from that. However, from my own experience of never hearing of shadow people or Hatman to seeing it myself, only to find out it is a well-known phenomena, I couldn't outright dismiss it as such. Good point, yeah. There are many people I have listened to, I believe they believe it at the very least. I think there are many common themes running through accounts that make anyone's experience difficult to ignore. Good point, yeah. And I'm not saying it couldn't be possible. I'm just saying it is quite a grand idea, you know. Just here and there, 66. I believe that most of the stories are true. I have two friends that we met as teenagers and have been lifelong friends. The second person I met when we were working in a call center, and she kept saying she felt like she knew me from somewhere. All of us have memories of rocking babies together. The memories of my first friend and I are always together somewhere rocking hybrids for the Greys and human to human reptilian. They all need human contact to survive, otherwise they die. We all suspect some of them may have been our own children, so we loved them and took care of them like any human baby. I know what I sound like, but we have three of us to support each other, so say what you may. No, I think that's fantastic, and having that corroboration, I think, is extra powerful, because if it was just you in a vacuum, do you trust your own memories? And I wouldn't. I'm speaking for myself, and I'm not speaking for anyone else. But the fact that you've met people and realized that you already knew each other and share these same memories, I think that's incredibly compelling. So yeah, thank you. And thank you for weighing in, because again, I don't pretend to know, but I do believe that there is something to it, but I don't know to what end or to what measure. The experimentation stuff is of course well documented. There are many people in the UFO communities that believe that perhaps these beings are farming genetic material from us, maybe in the form of hybrids, maybe in the form of just tissue samples, maybe any number of things. There are stories of gestating babies up to a certain point and then being abducted and having them removed and suddenly not being pregnant anymore, with no sign or proof that they were ever pregnant, other than they were pregnant, which leads me to believe that there might be merit to that. Again, the thing that makes this more powerful to me is that you are people of my community. You are people that are here taking part in the shows. So what you say carries a lot more weight to me than anything I might uncover or find online. So I think that's incredibly powerful, and thank you for that. thank you for putting that out there because it does help me personally. So, let's see what's going on here. Oh, thank you, Eliza. Thank you, Eliza. I didn't see that because I'm reading. But Portal Mom said, hey, make sure you thank Eliza. Thank you, Portal Mom. I appreciate that. Brent, I love you. Love you too, Eliza. Thank you so much. I just scrolled up to see the actual donation. I really, really appreciate that. You got a very special donation. Yeah, we did. Yeah, thank you so much, Eliza. That means the world. So thank you to those of you that took the time to do this. I know I kind of put it up late last night, and it was like today I look back at it and there's no responses. I'm like, uh-oh, this could be the shortest segment ever on a live show. But I appreciate you guys weighing in, and sorry if I skipped something else in this back and forth. It just makes it really tough. Abductions are misconstrued. They are a process that some may find frightening because others convince them that it was. They help certain individuals with certain ailments and heal them, like a person going into surgery would also have fear. That's a good point, Paradox. Thank you. Yeah, very interesting. Let's see. I just want to look over Lars's quick here. Lars says the time it would take, and the physical damage to their body that would happen while in space during the travel would probably be catastrophic to them. I believe and know that people are taken or go willingly by aliens, but just how far they are taken may differ from case to case. Knowledge can be given telepathically to the abductee, and that knowledge sticks with them for longer time. I know this from experience, but I agree, Chucky. I believe that is the key to solving it. Yeah, that's very interesting. And thank you guys for weighing in. I don't want to say only answer the question and that's it. I would love that you guys continue the conversation. It gets muddy when I'm looking through the back and forths, like where do I read? So that would just help me a ton if you just take side conversations to maybe the extraterrestrial encounters thread. But yeah, very cool. I appreciate all the input. It really means the world. And watch for questions of the week before every live show, because that's when I put them up. Unless we have a guest. And I don't know. I'll have to maybe get your guys' feeling on that. But I like doing these shows like this personally. I really do. I get really stressed out when I have guests on the live show because I've done many guests on the live show in the years past, and I've had things go horribly wrong, and it stresses me out to no end. But this to me is relaxing. To me is very relaxing, and I feel like it gives us an opportunity to connect. I don't know. I'm just kind of sappy that way, I guess. But you'll have to let me know if you really would rather have guests on than just doing the same shows, or obviously we cover different material, but if you'd like to see it change up from time to time, you'll have to let me know. But anyway, this is the Discord questions of the week. I appreciate you guys doing it. Renee Cruz, happy 2023 New Year's, Don and Brent. Thank you, Renee. Good to see you back. Great to see you back. And Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all of you, in case you haven't heard it from me before. I appreciate it. Gotta love this connection. Paranormal Portal makes us feel special. Thanks, John. I mean, it's because you are special. You all are. And I know maybe other shows talk about, oh, we're a family. But honest to God, I feel like, seeing so many of you come back over and over and over, and it just makes me feel like we're connected. I don't know how else to say it. And I know that may sound campy or cheesy, but honest to God, this is kind of a family to me. So it's important that I do these shows and connect with you guys. So I appreciate it. All right. So let's continue with the rest of our journey here. All right, this is the rest of the journey. At least the next part of the journey. Chucky Danger Paranormal Portal is very welcoming. Absolutely, everybody's welcome here. I love it. Let's see what this is. Oh, I got you. Sorry, Eliza, rather. I don't know all of the vernacular around the world, so I just had to look at that message and go, oh, whoops. But it is incredibly heartwarming to see you guys come back and back and back. And please keep spreading the word. Please keep letting other people know, because it's always exciting to see this grow. And to see more people finding it. R.B. Morris, say it through interpretive dance. Oh. All right. Okay, so what are we going to do there next? We got a couple minutes before the break. 5 minutes. Let me pull up my other stuff that we usually get to. I usually do the questions of the week through this whole segment, but it was a little bit shorter tonight because there weren't as many responses. So I'm going to pull up this because these are some things we've been going through for a while now. What was this? I think I did that one already. Okay, so here's an article we've been working through for a while. It's from a site called Techie Twist. Oh, jeez. Nope, that's not now. That's over. Where the hell is my mouse? There it is. All right. Sorry. I got to remember to not have that up after that segment. Sorry. There's so many things I got to manage here, and I forget, so I apologize. This is from techietwist.com, and these are Reddit users shared unexplained things that happened to them. And so we're on number 28 of this article, and it's nearly done. I think we're almost through it. And it says, all the news that's fit to print. Now, some of these aren't exactly paranormal, but all of them are unusual. We've been sucked into the portal. Was delivering newspapers on my newspaper route when a longtime customer pulled his car next to me and asked me to give him his newspaper. Now, because he was going on a long trip. Well, I handed him his newspaper and then skipped to his house as I continued my route. The next day, I was collecting the weekly fees, and I went to his house to collect my fee. His wife answers and promptly complains that I missed her house on my deliveries the day before. Well, I explained to her that her husband pulled up next to me. I told her what he said and that I gave him the paper. She started crying and told me that he died a couple of weeks ago, and it was obviously not possible that I spoke with her husband the day before. Well, I know what I saw, and nearly 30 years later, I still think about that situation. Now, do we know this is true? No. But if it is true, this is an incredible interaction and manifestation of a spiritual being. Now, this is 2 weeks after his passing. He still hadn't transitioned, and that does line up with a lot of beliefs around the world that there is a period of time between passing and actually making that final transition. Obviously, we know that some spirits may not choose to pass at all. Maybe they choose to stay. And again, maybe it's not hard to believe given the fact that many ideas of what's next include a judgment. And if you have lived a life that maybe you're not real proud of, maybe sticking around is a much better option than going into a lake of fire or whatever the hell it is. But this is very interesting. I think it's incredibly profound if it's real. Again, we don't know. This could be an absolute fabrication. It's represented as real, so I'm giving it to you in that spirit, but I don't know. But I have covered this same story on several other threads. Unfortunately, there are redundancies in the paranormal because these kind of articles, especially, they go out and they aggregate articles out of Reddit threads. And so possibly several different people are pulling the same comments and they come up, and I can't proofread all this stuff. I just don't have the time before every episode. So I apologize for any redundancies, but it's still an amazing story, even though I've heard that a few times now doing this show. Number 29, unexpected hitchhiker. Was cruising a back road on the way to work when I topped a hill and there was a cat in the center of the road. I didn't have time to react and tried to center the cat between the tires. I heard a loud thump as I went over it and winced. No cat in the rearview mirror, which I pondered the rest of the drive. When I got out of my truck, I heard a meow. Well, I searched all over, and eventually I found the cat safe and sound sitting on the spare tire underneath my truck bed. He hung in there for over 20 miles. I had that cat for almost 9 years. Rip Mr. Furley. Aw. So he found in the middle of nowhere. It ended up jumping up under his car and resting on the tire until he got home. Amazing story. Very cool. All right, we're going to go to the hour break. Don't go away. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't give up on me, baby. I'll be back.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Feeding me with empty promise, you're just another fucking gas. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not wrong, you get. I'm not talking yet. I'm not talking yet. I'm not talking
A nightmare from which they cannot wake. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're into hour number 2 now. It's gone really fast. Wow. That's the way the cookie crumbles when you got a good show going on. Just glad we have a lot of good shows. No, I'm just a little personally biased, of course, but do the best shows I know how, if that matters. All right, so we've been just started going through this Techie Twist article. It's a Reddit scrape. Reddit users shared unexplainable things that happened to them. And some of them are pretty cool. We just covered one with a white cat that just jumped up on the guy was going down a road, jumped up underneath the truck, thumped, and managed to land on the spare tire and ride all the way home. And the guy adopted the cat. Mr. Furley, he called it. But some of those are just the coolest stories because my first cat that I had was named Jewel, and she was found in the north woods of Wisconsin in the middle of nowhere, just a little kitten. And she was a little tuxedo, black and white cat. And she sounded like a raccoon. Like she chirped and made noises like a raccoon. It was just the strangest thing. And I don't know if she was mimicking, like maybe she was adopted and raised by a pack of raccoons or something. I don't know, but she was the greatest cat, the smartest little thing, and she was really special. And I've had several cats through the years, but sometimes those connections are just meant to be made. Okay, it is polydactyl. Okay, Elaine was talking about having a cat, had 6 toes on every foot, and I thought that was called polydactyl, but thank you for that affirmation. Brent is sounding better. I am better. Thank you, Ninja Dave. I appreciate that. I am getting well. I mean, just now it's just the I don't know, cleanup. Because, I don't know what it is about colds, but they go right to my lungs. And then I get to cough it up for a while afterwards. So if I get froggy, that's what's going on. But we're on number 30 now, this article that we're going through. And it's number 30 is Prison Poltergeists, which is right up our alley. So without further ado, shall we get to it? All right, and this is it. Look at that picture. The person that took that picture of is like, God, you saved that? What? Oh, that's one of those pictures you don't want anybody to remember. I was deployed to Iraq, and we stayed in a former prison in Baghdad. During the night, we would see and hear strange things. The base at this time only had soldiers, but we would hear children playing from inside the prison. One day we decided to dig deeper to see where the kids were, and we finally found where the noise was coming from when we found a room with the ceiling caved in. We didn't find any kids, but found kids' books, toys, kids' clothes. Everything looked like it wasn't moved in weeks. We continued to hear the kids in the year that we spent there. Oh, I hope that's residual. The idea that there's little children spirits that are stuck just really kind of breaks my heart. But so hopefully it was just a residual imprint. The idea is, that it's not an actual intelligent spirit. It's just something else. Mr. Naysay. coming in. Says, hi, Miracles. Hope you are finding giggles. Thank you, brother. Long live Captain Kev Baker. Yeah, that was a nice show, Nasa. You guys did a good job. That was a lot of fun to be a part of. Thank you so much for inviting me and letting me be a part of that legacy. That was really an honor. Yeah, very cool. Number 31, the problem with cameras. Sometimes, I don't want to read that part. That's just the person's authorship. My husband had an overnight job. One night, he left home at around 8:15 p.m. Around 11, I heard keys in our back door and the usual sounds my husband makes when he comes home. I crept out to the kitchen to make sure that it was him, and it was. He told me he needed to grab his knee compression sleeve. In the morning when he got home, I made a comment about him forgetting his knee sleeve. He was genuinely confused. Our daughter confirmed everything I said, but he was still acting confused. I pulled up our security motion camera on my phone, but there was no footage of him coming home after he left. My daughter and I both heard him and saw him, and I even touched him, but he was never home during that time. So what in the hell is that, right? Those are the really, really strange things. And here's the thing. I think that these are examples of the multiverse. Like the whole idea that there are infinite numbers of you experiencing an infinite number of variations to your life. Some of them almost identical. And so did she and her daughter, or did the home or something, just transition quickly for that little experience and then back? And it almost seems intelligent. Like these things almost seem like they happen intelligently. Like something is just flipping the switch a little bit just to give people little peeks. And that's why I call the paranormal the breadcrumbs, because this stuff is being shown to us for some reason. This is not just reality collapsing on itself or just getting glitchy. This is showing us something. And if you're coming from a religious place, the whole idea that, God is this infinite being. And what is the magnificence of what has been made? What is the depth of this amazing creation? If you're not into religion, then what is the magnificence of this universe? And how many possibilities are there? And what is going on here? And I think these things happen because I really believe this is meant to teach us something. And again, is the story true? I don't know. But it's supposed to be true. It's represented as truth. We've certainly heard many variations of this same theme. Seeing people coming home that aren't actually home, or are there and then they aren't. The doppelganger effect, where people see people in their family walking around in areas of the home that they're not, or even when they're out traveling, suddenly they're home and it's like, what the hell's going on? It's like these things have a reason. I just can't shake that suspicion that it's meant to teach us. It just must be. I mean, because if not, then it looks like reality's collapsing on itself, and that's terrifying. So I defer to there's a purpose and a reason, and it's meant to show us something, not, oh my God, this stuff is crashing. The simulation is crashing. We're all in trouble. We're going to be deleted. That's the scary version of it. Number 32, dude, that's scary. Around 1996, I borrowed a new digital camera for my work and brought it to my band practice at our bassist's house. I took a bunch of band pics and excited about this new technology. We loaded the photos onto his computer to get a good laugh at our drunken foolishness. In one particular shot of the bassist, we were stunned to see something bizarre. The TV screen behind him in the photo was black, except for a white, cloudy ghostwriting that said, "Things hurt." We had no explanation for this. My friend printed the photo, and I still have a copy to this day. Things hurt. Huh. That's creepy and weird. All right, watch out for the dogs in trees. Jeez. Then it starts out, you know, this is written by somebody younger. Like 15 years ago, while I still lived with my mom, we had a big backyard and had 2 dogs. One night I heard the dogs running back and forth, not barking, but they were whimpering, like scared or something. And when I went out to see, I saw another white dog, like a big white husky dog. And it looked at me with piercing red eyes. Then turned around, climbed a freaking tree, and jumped to the backyard next door. To this day, I know for sure I wasn't high and still don't know what that was. Skinwalker? I don't know. What is that? Where is this? I don't know. It doesn't say where or what, but that's a creepy, creepy experience. All right, number 34. Mom, is that you? I was probably about 16 or 17. I'd just gotten home from school. My brother was in the kitchen making a ruckus, so I started that way. As I passed by his bedroom, I saw my mom in there, sitting on his bed with the lights off. I stopped and stood in the doorway and asked what she was doing. She said really slowly, "Just sitting. Come here. I need to talk to you." I took about a half step into the room when I heard my mom yelling for me in the kitchen, and then saw her setting the table. I looked back to the bedroom, and there was nothing there. I don't think I ever went back into that room by myself ever again, even 10 years later. Sorry. Little bit of a cough. So what is that? It looks like a doppelganger thing. Is that mimicry by something dark? I don't know. That's freaky. That would be a freaky, freaky experience. I don't think I would go into that room either. I generally, I've had several ghostly experiences, and I have to admit, I haven't been legitimately really scared, and I'm knocking on wood here because I don't want to be. But I imagine anybody can be scared if given the right circumstances. So I'm not like challenging the universe here, but generally, when something happens and I get a bad vibe, I just feel like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, like angry. And I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if that's something wrong with me or what, but it upsets me when something is screwing around like that, trying to cause fear or whatever. And I guess I'm grateful because, I do believe there are things that exist in our world that try to inspire fear because they may feed off of that energy discharge, because we are energetic beings. And so in a case like this, what was it doing? Well, it doesn't sound good, whatever it was. If it, I mean, that is such a dark, creepy experience. How can that be a positive? How can that be a good thing? And what was it trying to do to that person? And, perhaps nobody will ever know, at least not in this lifetime. But that stuff, I guess it really, the reaction I get, I mean, there is a bit of like, whoa. And then it's like this anger, like, what are you doing? Like when I witnessed the chandelier fall out of my ceiling, and I'm going to repeat it because I don't want to expect you to go through 1,400 different shows on YouTube here to find it. But I did a show when I was doing the I think it was the Night Terrors or the Bedtime Stories from Beyond, where it's a walk in my shoes. And I think I covered this story there. And I mentioned it through the years many times, but essentially I lived in a house that had a lot of activity. It was an old Victorian house built in 1894, and it was a beautiful house. I loved living there. 99% of the time it was just fine and wonderful. But every once in a while something weird and disturbing would happen. And one time I had just separated with my ex-wife, and I was there alone. I was in a real fit anyway, just because it was such a hard, tumultuous period of my life. But I was leaving my home for something, and I don't know if I was on my way to work or whatever, but I was leaving my home, since it was a separation, I lost, part of the things that I had or that we had. And so that's just the nature of that game. But I didn't have a dining room set at all. So I walked through the dining room, which, again, this is an old house built in 1894, and there was an old chandelier fixture in the ceiling. And it wasn't a, ornate, beautiful thing. It was kind of a cheap, trashy thing. I imagine it was replaced probably in the 30s or something with some cheap tinny stuff. But anyway, it was a bit of a chandelier. And I walked through the room and got to the door, and I suddenly had this feeling I had to turn around and look. So I had my hand on the door handle, but I turned around to look because the doorway was on the other side of the dining room to go out of the house onto the porch and then out. But I stopped and I looked and I turned around. And just when I turned around, looked back at the living room, or at the dining room rather, the chandelier in the ceiling pulled out of the ceiling and crashed to the floor. And I mean literally pulled out. Like it pulled down plaster and it pulled out like parts of my ceiling. Like it wasn't just it was just barely hanging there and it finally let go. It let go and hit the floor. And instantly I was pissed. I was just like, oh my God, now I got to fix that. And I was mad. And it never had another negative experience after that. It was like, I was just furious because now I had to fix this, this ancient plaster ceiling and put up another light fixture. I was just mad, but I don't know. It's strange. Not that you came to hear me tell all my anecdotes, but that's definitely one of the weird experiences I had and my reaction to it. It wasn't fearful. I was just mad. I was like, what are you, oh my God, now we got to fix that. So maybe it was because I was already going through so much and I was just at my wit's end, but I just had no cares to give. I'll use that vernacular, but you know what I'm saying. So very, very creepy story. Number 35, phone call about a feline. We're going to talk about cats again. One of my cats had been missing for a few weeks, and I'd given her up as gone. While on the phone with a friend 100 miles away, he interrupts himself from talking about work and says with a strange urgency, "Doug, open your front door. Your cat is sitting on the porch waiting to come in." And of course, upon opening the door, I find her sitting there. We were both beyond blown away. Between sobs of joy, I asked, "How did you know?" And he said, "I don't know, man. This was really weird." That's awesome. Wonder Woman says, "Me too, Brent. I get pissed when odd stuff happens, plus frozen pipes." Yeah, no doubt. Hag Chick says, "Hi, Paranormal Portal. Watched your lives for months now. Just want to say love what you're doing." Oh, thank you. Love you too. Love that you're here. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm thrilled that you're out there watching. And I know a lot of people are watching and they don't necessarily come in and chat, but it's wonderful when I do get a chance to meet you and thank you in person because it really does mean the world to me. So thank you so much, and hope you guys continue to spread the word. I get it. I was mad when I had sleep paralysis and an entity tried getting under the covers with me. Oh my God, Colleen. That's terrifying. Oh, thank you, Maggie. Yeah. John Stevenson says today's show is brought to you by cats. Brought to you by the letter C-A-T-S. Yeah, no doubt. Well, I guess it's a theme tonight. Again, a lot of us are cat lovers, so I guess it makes sense. That's an interesting story, though. I don't know. One of those things. It's very strange. I don't know what to attribute that to. How would the person know? But he knew, and he knew that it was urgent. Like someone was saying, get that cat in now. So he spoke on it. Maybe it's a guardian angel. Maybe it's a guide, something. Ghost Baby is next. On cold days inside your car, you can breathe on the window and draw on the glass. Well, I got in my car, and as I look at the windshield, I see a few small baby hands. I thought it was strange someone would let a baby play on my car's windshield. I had an urge to touch the baby prints, and as I touched it, I wiped away the handprints. The handprints were made from inside of my locked car. This is probably the strangest, creepiest, unexplained phenomena that's ever happened to me. Sorry, my God. I've been talking more today, so it makes me cry. Not literally. It's just after days of coffee, I get tears. Sorry about that. They come urgently, these coughs. I can't control them. But it's part of the mending, so I guess it's on the way out, so that's a celebration all by itself. That's a creepy story. How did the baby prince get inside your car? That's just disturbing. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do with that. All right, number 37, looking for a sign. Not me, but a friend of mine. He's a Christian, but there was a time in his life when he was doubting his faith. One night he was in the kitchen and fell to his knees asking for a sign. When he looked up at the lock on the microwave, he saw the time was 16:04. And he couldn't get the name Matthew out of his head, so he picked up his Bible and goes to Matthew 16, verse 4, thinking it would be some profound message or something. And instead it said, "A wicked and adulterous generation looks for a sign, but none will be given." Ooh. He just got God slapped. That man just got God slapped. That's pretty harsh. Nope. You'd be looking for a sign, but you ain't getting one. Boom. Now get back to believing. I hope he found his way back. To his faith. That's a tough thing. I think everybody hits those times in their life. It's just, life gets heavy. Life gets confusing. And everybody, I think, reaches a point where they're just like, come on, is this stuff real? What's going on? And so we do look for signs. And sometimes the signs come. I remember there was a time in my life where we're kind of going down the Brent Thomas memory lane here with coughing fits. Sorry. I didn't have time to mute. But I had an experience once where I was really at a point in my life. There's been a few points in my life where I was kind of crushed, and I was on my way home from a job that I hated. I hated this job. I worked in a factory, and I despised it. It was just so hard for me, and it was hard work. And so it was, the old factory where there's a buzzer that sounds letting you know when you can sit down, and then a buzzer sounds letting you know when you can't sit down anymore and you got to get back to work. It was just, I found it really hard to bear and to deal with. Maybe that makes me a whiner, but at any case, I did the job as best I could, but I really felt just low and dejected and just was having a real tough time with it. And I was driving home, and I worked nights, and it was, I think it was a summer night. Yeah, it was, because I had the windows down. And it was, the drive home was back through, more country highways, not main city highways. And it was a 45-minute drive to get home, or better. I'm on my way home, and I'm like, God, if you're there, if you're hearing me, just give me a sign that this is going to be okay, that things are going to be okay. And I was just looking out the window at the dark night, and there was a few clouds in the sky. It was stars I could see. And suddenly, these northern lights just appeared in the sky and started shimmering. I was like, wow. Just when I asked for that, boom, those northern lights appeared. And they were there for maybe 30 seconds and then just gone. So then, being the typical person, I was like, okay, God, if that was really you, show me those lights again. And on cue, the lights returned one more time. And I just got this huge smile. I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get through this. It's going to be okay. I'm not alone. And it was this most reaffirming, beautiful moment for me, because I was just struggling. I was just struggling with this. And it's just northern lights. But the fact that they came right when I was looking, and then came again right when I asked. I was just like, wow. I felt really special, you know, and it was my own experience. Nobody was there with me. Nobody can corroborate that it happened, but it was real. And it was so important at that time. Like I needed that. And it's, you know, been in my mind ever since, just kind of sustaining me. So sometimes the signs show up, but sometimes you get Bible verses that tell you to quit whining, which is kind of that last story. Get off your feet. Let's go. Number 38, Rip Mr. Sniffles. Oh, we're not going to have time to this. We're going to go to the break, which is happening now. So bear with me. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. I'm going to cough a little bit and blow some orifices, and hopefully everything's better when we come back. Don't go away. yeah, I got to unmute that. Good night, Ron. Thank you for joining us, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. All right. I think everything's clear now. I did some clearing. I did some cleansing. Spiritual cleansing. In the spirit of breathing out of my nostrils. That's kind of important. I think I'm doing good, though. Thank you. What was it, Leslie? So good luck with the orifice blowing. Yeah, I appreciate it. I managed pretty well. Thank you. I try I try to keep the shows as professional as possible, but at the same time, I'm just another idiot with a microphone. So sometimes they get ahead of me, and you just get to deal with me. And sometimes I'm just an idiot. So that's part of the drill. Nobody's great all the time, but even a stop clock is right twice a day. All right, so I don't know how much is left of this article, if we should just finish it. It looks like it looks like it's loading more. So I think we're going to stop that one right here. Shoot, I know what I was going to do. Guess what I didn't do? I didn't do what I was going to do, but let me see what I can do instead here. Excuse me. Sorry. I was going to pull up a couple things. Huh. What was that? No. There was something I was going to pull up, and I'm looking to see if I can find it here before I waste a lot of your time. Oh, yeah, we covered that. I think I'm not on the right page here. I should probably do this. All right, here it is. That's an actual episode. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Here's a excuse me. Sorry. I'm just, as the night wears on and I've been talking more is coming up, so I apologize. It's almost kind of aerobic doing these shows, because as I'm doing the show, I'm actually talking a lot louder than I normally do, because my voice is one that's very, very hard to pick up. If I don't project my voice, it's very hard to pick up. I used to get a lot of emails like, "Yeah, I can hardly hear you, Brent. I can hardly hear you," because I normally talk about like this, and so it's much quieter. But when I'm doing the shows, I try to talk louder for you guys so you can hear me, and that's causing things to move. So, oh no, I can't do this one. Never mind. This one's more of a video thing, but it's actually from a friend of ours, which is Grassman58. Will is a great guy, and he's a researcher up in this area, but it's a video one, and I haven't talked to him about using it, so I can't pull that. Oh, God. I can't wait till all of this is done and I'm clear again. Okay, here's one that we can. This is going to be an upcoming Sasquatch Chronicles show, but we're going to go through it right now because, by God, Wes said, go ahead, use what you want, and by God, I will. So I'll let Wes fill some of our time with his material. So this is for an upcoming show. It's from SasquatchChronicles.com from the blog, and it's dated January 4th. And I always like to recommend people check out SasquatchChronicles.com, because not only is that where you can find all of Wes's shows, but you can find a ton of other stuff on the blog section. And so it's a great place to learn a lot more that will never be included on the shows, just because he can only do so many shows. So this is from January 4th, and it's for an upcoming show. I thought it was a man in a fur coat. A listener writes, in the early 1980s, I was running our John... Wait, I did this one, didn't I? I think I did this one. Did we do it last? Did I do it on Wednesday? God, I'm so not prepared. Well, we're doing it again. A listener writes, it was the early 1980s, and I was running our John Deere 4440 on a farm that's known as the Cotman Farm, nestled against the Great Miami River's east bank. I know I did this one before. Sorry, it's redundant. Forgive me, but we're doing it again because I'm an idiot. This is early spring and a fairly warm day, and I was chisel plowing and spraying pre-emergent herbicide back and forth along this couple 100-acre field. As I was making a pass near to the river, I noticed movement along the tree line. I looked over and saw what I thought was a man in a fur coat. I'm laughing right now as I'm typing this because it struck me as being super stupid. I can still hear my thought, what an idiot hunter is out here in a fur coat on a 75-degree day? I also was a little concerned, so I started looking up and down the fence row, and sure enough, I could just barely make out two more men. When you're in the tractor, the 4440 JD, you sit up about 7 or 8 feet high, and when you're spraying with chemicals running 8 to 10 inches deep on average, lots of dust gets kicked up, and it's difficult to see across the field depending on the wind direction. As I got to the headland row, I decided I should just quit and head home. I had that uneasy feeling and decided to trust my instincts. Well, later that night at dinner, I told the men in the family, and of course, they just made fun of me and told me to just watch myself and take the shotgun with me. Well, the next day I got started midday and had made a few passes and was just making another turn when I saw this man walking across the field. And again, I saw this large man walking with the ugliest gray fur coat, the kind that looked almost like lamb's wool that was greasy and hung in clumps. This individual didn't give me the same vibe as the men from the day before. In fact, the demeanor was that of an older person, calmly just out for a stroll. It struck me as odd, but I didn't feel threatened enough to stop working. I never mentioned this to anyone, not after the ridicule I got the night before. I tucked it deep down in the recesses of my brain. So it sounds like a family group is there. And it's just the old man decided to come out. And I do think that when they age, they do kind of gray up just like we do, like dogs do, like many animals do when they get in advanced age. They just change. Like, it's just part of their genetics as well, I guess. But pretty bizarre. I just don't know. What are the odds that you'd see 3 one day and then an older one the next day? Like, that's got to be intentional. I can't fathom why they would just be lumbering around and like, oh, there's a tractor. Oops, you caught us. They could hear that thing miles away, I'm sure. So they just didn't care. Maybe they know more about us than we think we do. Maybe they connect with us in some other way. Maybe like a telepathy, maybe some kind of psychic knowing that this person's not a problem. Don't worry about it, whereas other people might be more of a problem and worry about it. I don't know. It just really makes me wonder because this is a creature that, by all intents and purposes, seems to survive and thrive in our absence and actively chooses our absence at every turn, except once in a while. And it'll be like I was talking with Scott Carpenter, it's like the road will be absolutely empty except for one car in the deep night, and it's like empty for miles in both directions. And these people will be cruising along, and just then, as the car's coming up, this Sasquatch will decide to cross the road right in front of people, maybe making them slam on the brakes or slow down or swerve to miss them. And it's got to be intentional. If they just waited, the car would have passed. The Bigfoot could have done whatever it was doing with absolutely no repercussions and nobody being any the wiser. But they must choose to be seen. And that is such a conundrum to me. Why? Do they kind of want people to know that they're out there? Is that part of their game? Like they don't want us to feel too at home in the woods? Is there some higher purpose to what they're doing? And I don't know, but you've got to think this doesn't make sense. Why would they just come out? they know they're going to be seen when they do this. So it's got to be calculated for some reason. And maybe it is. Maybe it's because when they show themselves once in a while, people don't spend near as much time in the woods and may avoid the woods altogether. Maybe that's what it is. They're just trying to raise the intimidation value a little bit, get the word spread that there's something out there. But generally speaking, with people, that works in the opposite. Like, if you go on the internet and say, geez, I just saw 4 Sasquatch in my property over in Pennsylvania, and here's my address. Really strange. Well, you're going to have tons of people coming from states away to try to look in that area, and it's going to cause a lot more people to enter the woods. So I don't know. It's just a really strange thing. I would really love to know what they're thinking, because it just doesn't make sense. There's like some bad math there, or it's brilliant. I can't decide which. Is Maggie heading to bed? Good night, Maggie. Thank you. Or is Mom heading to bed? Not sure who's heading to bed here. Mom just said good night to Maggie. So good night, Maggie, if it's you. Hope you're well. Thank you so much for being here as always. They go through portals. They could, maybe. I mean, again, there's plenty of people that have witnessed a lot of strangeness with the Bigfoot. I just don't understand it. Why? Maybe they came out of a portal and didn't realize, oh, there's people there. Shoot. Maybe. Maybe that's an answer. I just don't know. It's very curious to me. But it's kind of the nature of the beast. So that's going to do it for the Sasquatch blog, because it doesn't look like there's much new since Wednesday, which is just 2 days ago. So, I mean, there's a lot more stuff, but it's a lot of video stuff and things that I can't really show on this show. I can't show other people's complete videos on my live stream without having their permission. So, excuse me. So we'll continue on to the next. Here's one from Phantoms and Monsters. What? Have Bigfoot seen animals? Hold on, I got a cough. Have Bigfoot seen animals hit by cars? Roadkill. Maybe they're hoping for a forest animal to be run over for an easy meal. Yeah, maybe it is like the dinner bell. That's an interesting take too. Maybe they were trying to push something into the road to get it hit so they can just grab it and go. It's like a drive-through. Thank you. I'm here all night. A drive-through. Get it? It's served fresh. All right. Anyway, sorry. It was funny in my head, for whatever it's worth. So, I don't know. It's a curious thing. Whatever the reason is, and I don't pretend to know for sure, but I know that it's a strange one, and it comes up all the time. Even broad daylight sightings. Like there's one from some states where there was like 4 cars backed up, bumper to bumper, and the one lady that was in their car, she's like, "Why is everybody stopped?" And then she looks over at this trailer house. And there's like a 9-foot tall Bigfoot looking in the very top window on the side of the trailer house. So everybody saw it, and it didn't care. It didn't care. I mean, it knew it was being seen. It had to have known, but it didn't care. It was just looking in that trailer house. That's pretty freaky. All right, here's a story from Lon Strickler's Phantoms and Monsters. It's a great site as well. This is kind of our cryptid corner part of the show. And this is Phantoms and Monsters is Lon's home base, and it's a real pillar of a site, and it's been around for years and years. He does a hell of a job. He has lots of information there about Dogman, about Mothman, about Bigfoot, about so many things, including nationwide research efforts into all of that. You can find links to all of Lon's books that he's written. I think he's written 9 now, and also links to his show, Phantoms and Monsters, the Phantoms and Monsters podcast. And he does a video version of it on YouTube, so you can check that out. Or just check it out on his site here. But in any case, it's a great site, and please help support what Lon's doing over there. All right, Georgia deer hunter's Glimmer Man encounter while in his tree stand. Now, I'm going to go out on the record here and say I've never heard of Glimmer Man before this. And I'm not, maybe I've just missed it through all these years, or maybe it's a newer phenomena, or maybe I'm not Maybe it's just a new name for an old phenomenon, but it's Glimmer Man. A Georgia deer hunter was in the Chattahoochee National Forest at his tree stand one late November afternoon when he observed a Glimmer Man entity as it moved through the trees around him. Yeah, I'm just not... I know I've heard that before somewhere. I just don't know where. And Lon says, the following account was forwarded to me. In the early 1980s, I lived in a small town near the southwest part of the Chattahoochee National Forest in Georgia. I was hunting on public land in the National Forest just up the road from home in an area known as Cooper's Creek. I've hunted in and around that area for years and was very familiar with the terrain. When I located a good spot that I thought would give me a good chance at a large buck, I set up my lock-on tree stand about 12 feet off the ground. I was hunting with a 12-gauge shotgun since rifle hunting is not allowed in this area. So, fast forward to early November, I'd been hunting in my tree stand several times, and this particular hunt was during the late afternoon around 4:15 p.m. I wanted to get there earlier, but I was held up at work. This was a Friday afternoon, and my wife knew that I wouldn't be home until 8:30 p.m. and even later if I bagged a deer. Well, I parked my truck at the trailhead and started hiking into the woods to my tree stand. The walk would take about 20 minutes, moving slowly through the woods since I didn't want to spook any of the wildlife. As I was walking, I noticed how quiet it was. Eerily quiet. Well, I finally arrived, climbed up, and settled in. I began to survey my surroundings, and I began to have a disconcerting feeling like somebody was watching me. I felt just like something was out of place. After a while, I kept looking at my watch, wondering how much time I had left until dusk. I thought that I should leave early because of how I was feeling, and then I caught movement to my right side. I slowly turned my head and began looking through the tree canopy, and that's when I saw it. I honestly don't know what it was. I was staring into the trees, and I saw what looked like a large human body, but it was completely blurred. It was moving through the trees. I could clearly see the outline of the figure, but the rest was all blurry. I couldn't focus on it. It resembled an out-of-focus blob of gelatin that was in the shape of a human. Whenever it would stop moving, I completely lost sight of it as it blended into its surroundings. Well, I continued to watch it stop and then start moving. I do so for about 15 minutes, and by that time, I was starting to become scared, and I was thinking about my walk back to the truck, so I waited for another 15 minutes or so. It was getting dark by then, so I slowly climbed out of my tree stand. Once I hit the solid ground, I wasted no time. I sprinted all the way back to my truck. I quickly jumped into the cab. I just sat there in my truck and tried to regain my breath. I drove home and said nothing to my wife or anybody else for several weeks. During that time, I tried to convince myself that I just imagined the whole thing. I eventually told my wife one night, and she listened and said that it was probably my imagination. Sure, why not? I told my brother, who said something similar to my wife. I never told anyone else. I never hunted in those woods again. I don't even go back for the tree stand. I took a break from hunting for about 5 years. I then started up again, but never in that area. I still wonder what I saw that day. I have no rational explanation. Years later, I think in 1988, the movie Predator was released. When I saw the cloaked alien on the screen, I immediately tensed up in fear. That is what I saw. I was shocked. Did I encounter an alien? I still wonder what it was that I saw that day. I no longer hunt or spend much time in the woods. That was by PL. And Lon doesn't have any follow-up on that. I guess, yeah, I mean, if Glimmerman means the cloaked figures, yeah, that's something I have heard of. Now, some people suggest maybe that's Bigfoot's in its, I don't know, interdimensional state. Maybe that's how they can kind of phase out and phase in. I don't know. It's a creepy, creepy thing. Now, there is a video I saw years ago, and I mentioned it on the show before, where something like this was captured on camera. It was filmed by a lady named Barb Shoop, and she and her dog at the time, I don't know if the dog is still around, this is years ago, but they have a gifting spot out in the forest. I think they're in Washington State. I'm not positive, but it was she and her dog and a group of people she was taking out were going to this gifting area. And on the way there, there's a kind of a certain path that they walk every time. And when she gets there, she would leave out food items like peanut butter and jerky and stuff like that, you know, things like that that would be then taken and, you know, the for whatever, you know, and I have mixed feelings about that kind of gifting because I think that can be dangerous, possibly even to these creatures, because we don't know anything about their physiology at all. So what if you're giving them something that they're absolutely drastically allergic to? Like our peanut butter is like a chemical soup to them, you know, unless you get the whole generic grind your own and, you know, create your own peanut butter, but, or organic, I mean, not generic, but, she was out there doing that and they were filming and they stopped at a point that was, I guess, right next to the gifting area. And I don't know if they heard moving or they just stopped and they were looking in this one direction. And it's on a little video camera, but you see them kind of pointing at something and suddenly it's on camera. Whatever it is it's a diminutive figure. It's probably about 2 or 3 feet tall. It looks like this cloaked alien technology thing. It kind of jumps off a log, goes into the underbrush and shoots back under the log, and you can hear it rustling off into the distance, but you can clearly see that it is some humanoid looking shape, but it's very small. And I was like blown away by that years ago. This is years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I don't remember how long ago this video was from, but it was incredibly powerful. And I don't know Barb Shoop. I still don't know her to this day, but I'd always found her videos interesting, and she seemed to be at least consistently doing the same things and not providing all this fantastic evidence. She would show that the containers had been opened by something and the stuff taken out of them, and she had, you know, mixed results like that. But this time she actually caught a figure, and it was a small figure. And so what is it? Anybody's guess, but it was definitely like the Predator, except small. And it just jumped off and disappeared under the log and was just gone, and you hear the rustling as it ran off into the distance. Just an incredible capture. I thought that was very, very powerful. So believe what you will. Could she have faked it? Maybe. But she'd never been known to be a hoaxer that I know of, and still isn't that I know of. I don't know if she's still doing it now or what she's up to anymore, but for those of you that are into the Bigfoot community, maybe you've heard of her. But again, just really, really bizarre stuff. So, God, we're down to about a minute. Can you believe it? How did we get here? I brought you here, for I am Spartacus. That thing you do, movie? Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys will spread the word about about the show. Don't forget, we do a podcast. It's audio only. You can find our podcast episodes on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, CastBox, etc. And so if you happen to use those platforms, and if you listen to Sasquatch Chronicles or the Confessionals or any other number of podcasts, then do a search for the Paranormal Portal, because this isn't the podcast. What you're watching here is our live streams It's a separate show entirely. So love to have you check that out and to be a part of it. And I will be back tomorrow night with Sheldon Thomas, I think. Awesome. Sean Connery. Yeah, sorry. I never meant it to be a Sean Connery impression. But I've been told that many times. So I guess it must be okay. All right, guys. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll see you tomorrow night. Sheldon should be here. Take care, everybody. Good night. Until tomorrow, 7 p.m. See you then.